Welcome back to Hilaal Live. Now, I did mention some grim news that may just occur tomorrow evening. That is, of course, diesel prices, which are expected to increase sharply for the fourth consecutive month when the fuel prices are adjusted this week. Meanwhile, petrol and illuminating paraffin prices will be hiked for a third month running. Now, this is, of course, according to unaudited data from the Central Energy Fund, showing diesel is set to increase by approximately 160 a litre, while petrol is expected to increase between 75 to 80 cents a litre, depending on the grade. Now, as we wait with bated breath, joining us now to discuss this is the AA's Layton. Layton, good day and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be with you for us.
Layton, break our hearts. How bad is it going to be come tomorrow evening?
Yeah, it's certainly going to be quite significant. As you said in your introduction, diesel up by around 150 to 160, petrol up by between 75 and 80 cents, illuminating paraffin also up by over around 50. The outlook is certainly not positive, and the negative effect it's going to have on motorists is that obviously it's just going to cost that much more to travel. But let's not forget that increase to diesel is going to have an impact on all consumers who will undoubtedly at some point feel it at the tolls.
Layton, let's speak about the international crude oil prices. Just now we saw it was sitting at around $95 a barrel. It was playing around just above the 90, moving into the mid-90s. Russia and Saudi Arabia, they've decided to cut supply with regards to oil, but there is an OPEC meeting that is happening on Wednesday. I mean, as consumers, we're just hoping that the supply chain can be open if, of course, members of OPEC do agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one factor that counts in our favor is that South Africa is not isolated in terms of rising fuel costs. Just two things on that. First of all, South Africa doesn't pay the most expensive fuel in the world. There are countries that pay a lot more, and there are obviously countries that pay less. We're pretty much in the middle in terms of what we're paying for our fuel. So that's the one thing. The second thing is that these increases that we are experiencing now are being felt in countries around the world. It's an international problem. It's not a South African issue. And I think because of that and the international pressure that's being brought, OPEC will obviously have to relook at its supply and perhaps do something to mitigate against those increases because I think they're getting pressure from a lot of different countries to say, hey, guys, look, we need to deal with this more effectively. Our economies are suffering. Our people are struggling. We need to actually find a solution long term for this.
Layton, the rand dollar, I know that's also one factor that plays a part. It was just sitting above 19 rand at the close of JSE. How much is that a consideration also? Because, I mean, I personally, the first thing I do when I open in the morning, I'm looking at the rand-dollar exchange and I'm hoping that there can be some sort of positive light. That also has some sort of effect, doesn't it?
It certainly does. In South Africa's case at the moment, around 80% of the reason for the increase is those international oil prices. The other 20, 25, 30% are because of the weakness of the rand against the dollar, because we're obviously buying that product on an international market in rands that need to be converted to dollars. But yes, the fact that the rand is weak at the moment is very negative for us. It doesn't bode well. So the fact that, our economy is weak is dragging the rand down. We need to relook at that, obviously. So at the end of the day, local factors are going to impact on the value of our currency internationally. And combined with the international oil prices, these two factors are certainly driving the price higher.
Layton, fuel levy. I know this was a contentious issue last year when prices really skyrocketed around our winter period. Surely government needs to look at this and say, okay, we're coming towards a festive period. Let's try and help the consumers a little bit. Do you think our government could have that bit of mercy on us?
Look, I think that they could. Whether they will, I don't know. I mean, obviously, this is a very difficult issue. What concerns us more is the silence from government on this issue. I think we'd like to see a lot more in terms of communication from them regarding what their plans are. But yes, I think, looking ahead, whether government is actually going to bring in any measures to assist consumers, I don't know.
Layton, we've got, just 2 more months left before the end of the year. Obviously, after October's price announcement, any hope for consumers out there? Everyone during the festive period wants to be with their loved one, wants to go on a holiday, be to the coast or to the bush. Are we expecting to pay more for this festive period?
Difficult question to answer. You know, the factors that we've mentioned of those international fuel prices and the Rand-US dollar exchange rate, both extremely volatile and things that change on a daily basis. So to determine what's going to happen in a week is difficult. What's going to happen in 2 months is impossible.
Layton, one final question. I want to bring China up because what happens in China really does play such a huge part in the globe. They need to get manufacturing back, which allows for supply to be more. China is a big player in this, isn't it?
Certainly is a big player. Again, you know, one of those things where you have to monitor what their policies are doing and how they're being, or what they're doing to dictate market. You know, very volatile situation in terms of fuel pricing internationally. Again, wait and see at the moment for us.
Definitely. Layton, thank you so much for joining us, mate.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers. That's Layton Beard from the Automobile Association of South Africa. Now, I don't know if you remember, but last year, I think the highest we reached was 26 Rand 31 cents a litre. I remember that. And then I also remember a report I heard on radio, Aramco, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, output of oil producers within the world, made such a significant profit on that. And it was during that same period, around the July to September period last year. So again, we're just hoping that Saudi Arabia and Russia were the biggest 2 output producers of oil. Of course, they've said they're going to cut supply, but there is that OPEC meeting that is happening on Wednesday. And I think we have to just hope that they'll allow for supply to continue. If the supply continues, of course, the price of oil drops drastically. And then we need to hope that the Rand performs better against the US dollar to at least give some sort of relief to us as South Africans towards the end of the year. We'll wait and see what will happen with regards to that. We'll be now crossing over to Isha Salah. After that, I'll have your latest in news. Do stay tuned.